All right. And remember, the show is at Oberon, one of our favorite places. You can check it out. I'm going to kick it over to my man, JM, who's been over there just waiting with us and like patience because he's ready to get down and dirty with some stuff. I want to hear what you got to say, brother, about WWE's Elimination Chamber.
WWE's Elimination Chamber took place last night in Vegas. Honestly, a lot of it was matches that could have been done on Monday Night Raw. Just a regular show matches outside the Elimination Chamber matches, of course. So I'm going to go through the one singles match I thought was pretty good and the two Elimination Chambers matches, and we can wrap this up. Get y'all kids to bed early. All right, so the one match that I actually liked that wasn't in the chamber was when Woken Matt Hardy went up against Bray Wyatt. Just the fact that Matt Hardy could actually hone into his character now, the broken Matt Hardy that made him so much more money.
Good characters,
it's
of them
a great
too, in that
character.
match.
Just
They're
that
good
whole
wrestlers. Too.
Yes, he's a quality wrestler with great character development that thinks outside the box, and it just works so well. And the men play off each other so very well because they know they have these outside the box gimmicks. It's not just I'm a bad guy and I could beat people up. Like they just the way they approached it was very much in the old school way of developing a character, developing the look, having complete buy-in. I mean, it's to the point where if you look at our archives on iTunes or SoundCloud, you'll hear me reference Matt Hardy's dedication to this character to the point where when he goes out on the press junket, he actually stays in character. He will do full-fledged hour and a half interviews in character. Whereas other guys will be like, yeah, that's just for the show and the kiddies. Like, no, he stays in character.
Wait, did he do that character from like when it's before rejoining WWE?
Yes.
Really?
That's why WWE wanted him, because his character was so over in TNA and Ring of Honor and those other organizations. That's why WWE came knocking like, hey, bro, we want you. To the point where they paid off TNA money for him to be able to keep the intellectual property, for him to be able to then use it in WWE. So I mean, it was that much level of dedication to this character.
Remember Macho Man on Arsenio?
Yes.
Like that, he would go on and do the whole thing as Macho Man. Oh man,
that same old school mentality of you hold on to the gimmick. So I mean, it was just a great match overall. They teased bringing Brother Nero, who was Jeff Hardy, bringing him back. So it was a nice little teaser for that one. All right, so we'll jump to the Elimination Chamber, the first one with the ladies, the first ever women's Elimination Chamber match with Bayley, Mandy Rose, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville, and Alexa Bliss. It was just a great match to see.
Did we see a Sasha Banks like a Mufasa kind of thing where someone who's climbing up? I saw a kick in the face. Is what I saw. It reminded me of like the Lion King. You know what I mean?
So it was a great reference. So final three of the match was Alexa Bliss as champion, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, who has this weird friendship, but it goes a little sour when they're competing against each other. So they're frenemies in many ways, even though Bayley wants her to be friends. So they climb up to the top of a pod because it's 4 chambers, and you can scale the fence to be on top of the chambers, on top of the pod. So they climb on top of the pod. They're scrapping and beating down Alexa Bliss, and Bayley's climbing up. And Sasha Banks, as they're both chasing Bayley, makes it to the top of the pod, and then just straight kicks her in the face.
It looks like she's gonna help her up.
She's like, bah! She grabs her head and kicks her in the face. Straight scar from the Lion King. It was great theater.
It's just like a stomp in the head too. Like, that probably hurt.
And she slammed to the ground. You're like, oh, you just felt for her.
Got no teeth and a broken back.
Like, that's supposed to be your girl, and she just kicked you in the face like that, man. And at the end of the match, Alexa Bliss kept the belt, which for me, I mean, let me go on record and say nobody that I wanted to win won last night, so I'm going to just throw that out there. But for storytelling reasons, I felt that Bayley should have got it, because I'm just kind of like, what are we doing right now? We're just kind of stretching out Bayley's character for what? It's like she's constantly the underdog, constantly being defeated, and I'm wondering how much shelf life does she have if we keep doing this. And Sasha Banks once again came up short, but because she has so much heat, especially after doing that move, kicking Bayley in the face, her heat is going to carry her career on. You could be a bad guy and not have a belt, but it's hard for you to be a good guy and not get a win.
Right.
You know, I'm not sure if the fans are going to continue to back her. I can see her shelf life being relatively short in WWE, which is unfortunate because Bayley is actually a really good wrestler, and much of it is just booking. If they don't turn her heel now, I don't see a future for her, unfortunately. And it's not her fault, because she could actually go. She can actually wrestle. And I'm going to talk about the men's Elimination Chamber match. We got a little time. I'll talk about others. Oh, I got one more thing after that. Men's Elimination Chamber match. Braun Strowman, Elias, Finn Balor, John Cena, Seth Rollins, and The Miz. Oh, and Roman Reigns. Reigns took it. I mean, it's just one of those sort of things that you knew was going to happen. We know that Vince wants to have Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, so that's what happened.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Theorize for a second there, man, because why do you think that is?
I mean, it's just because he's the guy. Vince likes him. Vince likes his look. He quote unquote looks like a wrestler, and he's the one that's been granted king, if you will.
Yeah,
So
there's tons of other cats that
That's
look
why
like
people
wrestlers,
hate
quote
him,
unquote.
though.
and that's why people hate
because
him.
they see through that. But it's just like sometimes, your boss gets it in his head. You ever have that like coworker that keeps getting advanced over you for no
I have.
reason? That's
Mhm.
exactly
And
what.
that's
he's
pretty much
doing.
what it
Yeah,
is.
man. It's not even his fault either.
It's
Though. He's
not his
trying.
fault.
He's trying hard.
He is. I mean, he's putting in a lot more work than I would say that I felt that he's gotten better as a wrestler.
Yeah.
He's not just relying on his size.
Well, you can't get
and all
worse.
that.
You know what
really
I mean?
can't.
He-
You
but
can't get worse.
I don't fault him. I mean,
I don't
everyone
either.
hates him, but I'm like, this guy is, for better or
He's
worse,
Kurt Angle
anointed
before the heel
against
turn.
his will. Like he's trying, man. He is putting in the work.
The part that was
God bless him.
frustrating for me is that Braun Strowman is your typical 50s, 60s wrestler, like big man, like
Yeah.
big guy, Andre the Giant, big guy, talking Big John Studd, like those big muscle bound King Kong Bundy in his prime, like those big strong guys that you're like, he looks like a champion because
Yeah.
he's a badass. He's a bad guy and he's big. And he eliminated everybody except Roman Reigns. And that's the part that's kind of like a thorn in the side for many wrestlers because you see him just bowl over everybody. Like
then
his-
the Reign just comes in, punches him in the head,
and that's it. And he's this big muscle bound guy who he's developing new catchphrases. In the ring, he's talking trash and just he talks trash to the point we can pick it up on the mic. So he screams, "Who's he scream? Which one of y'all want these hands?" And just knocking dudes out. You just see bodies everywhere.
That's so
and you're
good.
like, how did this guy lose? You look at him like, this big bastard, how did he lose?
Who wants these hands? That's
And
funny.
he's doing it great. Like he's just building up his character. And the fans want him. And it's almost as if just to piss the fans off, they're not gonna give it to him. And it's just like this guy has worked hard. And my fear, and I mentioned this in the previous episode, that WWE is going to lose this opportunity with this guy because he has so much heat behind him. And my fear is that when somebody's so popular and you don't cash in, that you're going to lose on opportunities making money off him.
Like,
Because-
imagine if they didn't cash in on Stone Cold that one time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You could have tanked the company.
You're absolutely right. And for those of you who are kind of like, okay, I don't really get that side of the house when it comes to pro wrestling, it's just a show that I watch. Wrestling makes money off of ticket sales and off of merch sales. And it's known that when a person's the champion, it's understandable that their stock would rise up. So if you're an up-and-comer and you're doing really well, the fans are cheering for you. They're showing up with posters. They're buying your merch right now. When you become champion, there's more merch they'll buy. They'll buy the plastic belts because you have the belt. They'll buy whatever trinkets
every
that your name's
story
on
is
it.
going to be built around that character,
Yes.
so that's what they're buying. You
And
know
it makes
what I mean?
the company way more money. So,
Right.
for instance, Adam referenced Stone Cold. When WWE took the chance on Austin, it was huge, and that made the organization more money. And being a stockholder of the organization, I can tell you right now, my stock has doubled, tripled just by the direction they're going. But my fear is, as I'm seeing it now, starting to peter out a little bit, and it's like it's because you're not building up good stars right now. You're not
And them
building up
Austin
good
316
wrestlers.
shirts ain't selling no more.
I mean,
I'd still buy 'em, man.
some of them are, but I mean,
Kids ain't buying those leg crutches.
He sold more merch than anybody.
yeah, he did. He sold more
History.
merch than Hogan in
Yeah.
history. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Steve
man.
Austin
You know,
sold the
Joe.
most merch in pro wrestling history.
Wait,
More than Hogan's tearaway, ice cream bars,
Yeah.
whatever.
Wrestling buddies, all that.
Bandanas.
Yeah, seriously.
Hogan's spaghetti.
Yes, the spaghetti, the vitamins.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
I was gonna say I thought the biggest thing probably would have been, if
Steroids
not the
for
Austin
kids.
316 shirts and the what shirts, which was also Austin. The
the what shirts that came afterwards, those are pretty
Yeah.
good. Those are pretty good ones too. That said what with the question mark, but
Yeah.
the
the heart-
Austin
the heart
360
shapes.
was.
Was those like a big thing?
I mean, they were, but I mean, then they were not Austin
Not
numbers.
close.
What
Austin
about
Button
those
numbers.
bunny dolls? The ones
Yeah.
that had like they were like pillows almost.
Oh, yeah,
You guys are
And they were
forgetting,
like-
man. You forget the Attitude Era.
The Attitude
was
Era.
so big. Like,
It made
Hulkamania
so
was big,
much
but-
money.
One of my favorite stories is I was in high school. I was 15, and I watched wrestling. My friends watched wrestling. I thought this was just the thing we did.
Mhm.
And my uncle, who's now, well, was at the time, superintendent of a district in New York, he would talk to me. It's like I went to visit him, and this was like my first time seeing him. He's like, "You let me drive around because I just got my license and stuff."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna show you my way of life, Unc." You know, and then so we go back to his place and stuff, and we're ordering junk food. My uncle was cool as hell.
Yeah.
Ordering junk food, and I put on wrestling on this big ass TV, and I'm like, "Cool, Unc. Let me show you what's hot in the street with the kids and all about
Show you
that."
my stories, man.
And the first thing he sees is DX doing the
the cross chop.
doing the chop, and he's just like, "That's what that is." And I'm like, yeah, you've never seen that? He's like, no. But every time I walk through the hallways, all the kids turn to me and they all go like this. And I didn't know what that was.
That is
I
horrible.
got kicked out of class for doing it to a teacher one time.
You did? Yeah,
Like that.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I didn't explain to him what it actually meant.
Run around telling teachers to suck it. Oh, jeez. That was such a lowbrow time, but it
was
made
so
so much
good.
money. One
perfect.
thing I do want to mention before we get up out of here.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey was on the event, of course, because they just recently signed her, so they had the actual signing segment of the event, and it was just kind of blah. Ultimately, Ronda
I don't
came
know
out,
about
she blubbered over her words. Her interview skills are piss poor, but I mean,
Bad.
what do you figure? She's
gotta start
still
somewhere,
new,
man.
but my thing is, when you're toting her as the person who you're probably gonna make champion relatively soon,
Man, is
work
she gonna
on it.
make? Is she gonna make friends in that locker room, being like the anointed girl, with no skills, no mic skills, never
I
done it
don't know.
before? She gets champion. How do you
Man.
think she's gonna fit in with all those people?
I
I
think
want to see her come in and just be the biggest heel ever.
I wish, but that is not the case. She's gonna be the biggest face, and what Adam questioned. Honestly, the way they're looking right now, I mean, many of these guys and girls who come, or a lot of them are coming off the street, immediately getting deals.
Yeah,
I mean,
if she doesn't put in the work, I don't think she's gonna last long because I don't know.
I mean,
man.
she'll-
That
she'll-
locker room's gonna be rough.
She'll last long just by virtue of them keeping her. I mean,
Paying her, yeah,
I mean, they
sure.
put her in a nice little scene where she threw Triple H through a table, which is ultimately to redo what they did before at WrestleMania, which she
The hip
But she
toss
did a hip
thing.
toss of Triple H. So for her to immediately be put in this segment with the literal COO of the company, and a legend such as Triple H, for her to be put in this immediate scene with him speaks volumes of where they view her. And ultimately, I believe it's a cash grab. I think she may be genuine on wanting to be a professional wrestler, but
Sure, but you got to have one or two skills. You got to be a good wrestler in the ring, or you have to be on the mic and
Yes.
really talk your game up. If you can't
Yes.
do both,
yes,
you're in deep.
you're
in deep.
absolutely correct on that one. And I think it just time will tell. I mean,
Yeah, man.
Well, hold on a second.
I
Let
just
me
don't
be,
think-
let me be the dissenting voice here. I think she might actually do okay. She definitely has a lot to learn.
I'm saying she might,
look
but I
at-
just don't. She isn't right
well,
now.
look
Yes.
at Mark Henry as the example I'll call out, because he's not a great wrestler, but he's somebody who knew nothing coming in, and he learned.
but Mark
along the
Henry
way.
was a thrown. And Mark Henry was a thrown into WrestleMania immediately. His
Yeah, he didn't
first
get
2
the-
months.
he wasn't
you know
gonna
what I
be the
mean?
face
True,
of the
true. But then again, she's a
WWE.
very popular figure because she was a good fighter. She wasn't the best, but she was the most brother. Okay, she was
got
undefeated
dealt
for a
with.
while for a reason. She's somebody who learned and then builds on that.
Hey, you
So
tell
I-
me those last 2 matches what she learned from them. I'm just saying.
I learned she don't want to fight anymore. She wants to go to
she's
wrestling.
somebody who learned it was time to retire.
I'm not gonna dump on her
No,
anymore.
don't
She
get
had
her
a
off.
rough
Not my
go.
love for
Yeah.
Ronda, but I'm just saying you can't be upset when pro wrestling fans are kind of looking at you with the side eye. I kind of
Yes.
wish that she went to developmental first. That at least she went to NXT first, which is WWE's developmental station. But
Nah,
WWE,
she's too big a name.
and that's the thing. She's too big a name, but it's at the same time for me, it would have told me that. You know what? You want to climb up and go through it, quote unquote, the right way,
You got
as
more
opposed to
respect
jumping
right up,
immediately right into it. And I mean, during her little interview, they made it a point to emphasize that during a little segment that Ronda didn't want any special deals. You didn't want any special deals, right? You didn't want any special locker rooms, no special limo drivers, none of that special stuff, right? No, I just want to be treated as a regular wrestler. I want to earn your respect. And I mean, they're clearly answering what the internet is saying about her. So I mean, props to them for trying to work that into the segment. But as much as you say it, they're gonna be looking at her with the side eye. Because like we know that you're automatically thrown into this
They know that
main
as much
event
as they
already.
know they're selling Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? People aren't
Pretty
stupid.
much.
They both boo Roman Reigns because they're forcing him down their throat. They're doing the same thing with Ronda. I don't know.
So with that said,
Can I pose this? Oh, real quick,
Mhm,
sorry.
go ahead. Mhm.
Can I just pose a scenario where that would work? Okay, Ronda comes in,
Mhm.
and instead of like fighting, well, no, she's a serious performer, beater, and all that BS. No, she comes in and owns the fact. Yes, they paid me lots of money to be here. I'm here for the paycheck.
That might
And she
work.
becomes like a new $1 Million Man type character, where everyone hates. Like again, her as the heel, but everyone hates her because of all this signing stuff. Where before they were just talking about the stuff. It's a cash grab. The company's got no integrity. Where it's just like, no, that becomes the character.
That wouldn't be a bad way to
honestly,
go. To be honest with you.
if I was writing creative, and of course all pro wrestling marks scream if I was writing creative. If it was me, I would do exactly that.
Yeah.
Have her show up with all the flashy stuff like. I don't need you, you need me. My name's making you money. Just to throw it in the face like $1 Million Man, just super heel. Because even like I'm saying Ric Flair heel. Like you get tossed around the ring because Ric Flair was like, yo, my offense was limited. And he's up front with that. See the Ric Flair 30 for 30. Amazing piece. But he's
a garbage human too.
He referenced the fact that, my job is to make the other guys look good even though I won. So I made Sting look good when he gorilla press slammed me. He said that's why I went out there and talked about how much money I got, why I got the alligator shoes and I got the Rolex watch. If she did that sort of thing, not as flamboyant as Flair, but you need me. This sport was nothing without me. I'm the one who was UFC champion. They built it around me. Like if she just did that,
like if you were better, I wouldn't be here. Something like that.
Exactly. Like you need me to be here. I was retired at home, and you need me. Like she just threw that in there. I agree with you, Pat. That would be amazing. Right. But they're trying to pass her off as like the most. I mean, this to the point they gave it a little moniker, the world's most dangerous woman, effectively, which is what they recycle from Ken Shamrock. When they say Ken Shamrock was the world's most dangerous man.
He wasn't the most dangerous man?
I mean, when he got beat by Minoru Suzuki in Japan, and the U.S. will want to talk about that. Minoru Suzuki, who beat him twice in his prime. Not old Ken Shamrock in his 50s, though. He beat Ken Shamrock twice in his prime, and no one wanted to talk about that in the U.S. because that would ruin Ken Shamrock's legacy of being the toughest man. But you got Minoru Suzuki, who's running the show over in New Japan, who whipped him up in MMA. So, I mean, the answer is no. Ken Shamrock was not the toughest man.
All I know from that fool is he's the one that introduced me to WWE as kendo sticks under the ring. Like, hell yeah.
And to be 7'2".
Well, the chair was pushing it. The tables were pushing it.
But
overall, now we got like actual weapons.
Overall,
my bad. I can't even say that. Someone did that. It was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
A Japanese wrestling match though, where it's like, dude gets him in like a hole, like a cobra clutch or something.
Yep.
And pulls out a gun.
Yes, I did. I seen it. He put up the prop gun and put it to his head. It's one of those sort of things where folks throw that shade at Japan, like, the Japanese don't have comedy wrestling. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Stupid
things like that they do all the time. It's amazing. So this pay-per-view, it's worth the watch specifically for the Elimination Chamber matches because it was history making. Seeing the women go through Elimination Chamber, it took so long. They should have been done it. They give the women equal footing as opposed to treating them like they're dainty and ultimately eye candy. But to see them actually wrestle and be treated as wrestlers, it's a shame that I have to praise that because it should be doing it anyway. But I'm glad they're doing it. So watch the Elimination Chamber matches. And yeah, watch the Broken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt match. Everything else was just pretty much a Monday Night Raw match that they rehashed over again for the pay-per-view. So other than that, yeah, check it out.
Word, cool. Thank you very much, JM. WWE Elimination Chamber. What's the next pay-per-view?
Fastlane in 2 weeks with your SmackDown's pay-per-view. And oh yeah, by the way, y'all, if y'all haven't caught the notice yet, WWE is stopping the brand-only pay-per-views because they were doing a Raw pay-per-view and a SmackDown pay-per-view. They're only going to do pay-per-views with the brands all together in it, which I think is a bad idea. My friends are like, it's a great idea because you get to see all wrestlers, but I think it takes away from the shining of wrestlers who may be lower in the cards on those individual pay-per-views. So if I'm like a B wrestler or Raw, I'm clearly going to get bumped for all the A wrestlers on SmackDown now. So I think it's a bad idea that they're mixing it, but they're mixing it now. So I guess the next pay-per-view will be 2 weeks, Fastlane, SmackDown's pay-per-view, and it'll probably be their last individual pay-per-view. And after that, of course, is WrestleMania.
All right, cool. Back when it was just two greasy guys beating each other.
In the end, yeah.
Brandon remembers me that looked like, yeah.
That's
all
what
right.
she said.
Wait, what?